Welcome to Viva La Visionary, the podcast that celebrates the innovative ideas and mindsets of entrepreneurs and visionaries. Join your host, Coach Bob Schittefeld, as he dives into inspiring stories and practical insights from trailblazers who are changing the game. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned leader, this show is your source for motivation and creativity. Let's embark on this exciting journey together.
Hey there, Coach Bob here, founder of the Visionary Forum and the curator of our podcast for visionaries, Viva La Visionary, celebrating and elevating. And I have one of my favorite people in the world, an amazing visionary, Greg Warner. Greg, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, you're my technology guru, so I'm excited to, we'll talk about technology later. Let's talk about being a visionary. So, I'm going to start with a small question, Greg. What's your purpose for being on this planet? What's your why?
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out. Most people don't ever figure it out or put any intentionality towards that.
Right.
But it's very helpful when you think about that. But I figured out that my purpose here is to remove the friction involved in the philanthropic process.
Nice. So what is the friction?
Truth, love, truth and love.
Are the
Trust.
friction or the solution to the friction?
Lack of truth, you could say, or
Okay.
lack of
Got it.
trust, lack of love, lack of engagement. I'll tell you this: the nonprofit fundraising sector has been in a ditch that they just keep digging, and that ditch is a organization-centric mentality that really doesn't allow donors to get the meaning through their giving that they're searching for.
Got it.
When you remove the friction from that philanthropic process where donors, would-be donors, philanthropic-minded people want to engage and want to give in a variety of ways, time, treasure, talent,
Right.
then you open up the floodgates. But you have to be donor driven and donor centric. When you're organization centric, overly mission centric, and focused on extraction of wealth for your needs without delivering a fair exchange of value in return for someone's money and investment, that's how you create friction.
Cool. And I know you are a tech guy, as I mentioned. So this is a technology platform, or are you a coach, or what do you do? What is kind of your foundation?
So I'm an inventor, really.
All right.
Technology is part of that, but what I've developed is a new framework, a donor-driven framework that also includes technology for fundraisers and their fundraising operations. And it's most of it I've developed and given away for free for
Right.
many years, while there's a core platform that we monetize, and we're coming out with some new ones next year in 2025.
Nice. And what's your target market? So it's nonprofits. Is it any nonprofit? Is it a certain demographic, geographic, psychographic?
Well, I have a free app that's for any size nonprofit,
Okay.
anywhere in the world. The free app is called the Fundraising Report Card, and that's a metrics visualizer and analyzer. The bottom line is that most nonprofits have to report to their boards and their leadership
Right.
quarterly at least, maybe monthly. And usually the time it takes to develop reports, especially surrounding fundraising metrics and
Right.
performance, are very time consuming to develop and often not the right metrics to report. So
Right.
this visualizer sucks in the data, integrates the data, and creates the reports and allows for customization without someone needing to be a real Tableau or Excel or PowerPoint wizard. Plus, it just supplies it to them. So the free app is called the Fundraising Report Card, and there
Okay.
will be a paid version of that next year. So that's available to anybody. But the core target market for our flagship product is really aimed at larger organizations, um, generally over 5 million, maybe even $10 million in annual revenue. And if you look
Okay.
at the website, it's everybody from Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, down to a small symphony or theater. But generally, they have to have about 10,000 emails in order to really benefit from our system.
Got it. And where would someone find out? What is your website and how can people find out more information?
So the free app is at fundraisingreportcard.com.
Okay.
And the core flagship product is at imarketsmart.com.
Awesome. Cool. So this is a podcast for, about, and to visionaries. So, and as you know, kind of to sum up what we do, it's iron sharpening iron, and we call that visionaries unleashing visionaries. So I just wanted to tap into some of your experience and wisdom as a visionary. What would you consider, what do you think your role or our role as a visionary is? What are we supposed to be doing or being?
Yeah, this has been a real transformation for me, by the way,
Yeah.
learning this and understanding Gino's concepts, which is basically like getting a master's degree in business, but in 250 pages. Um, that'll really insult a lot of people with master's degrees. But for a guy who failed out of business school, it's like it was very helpful to understand how a business should really operate. But then there's the Visionary Forum, which has helped me understand what it's really about to be a visionary. And I'll answer your question. I know I go around on these
You
Trump
sound like a visionary,
whatever
Greg.
you call that. But what is the role of the visionary is, and in no particular order, it's to set the tone of the culture of the business. That is my responsibility. Um, and to lay down where we're going, and especially
Right.
why we're going there, and why people should consider joining us. So it's about making the mission something that helps people find meaning in their lives, including your staff, your vendors, and your customers, of course.
Right.
Um, it's also to think ahead and see what the market needs or deserves beyond what anybody else has ever thought.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people who are business owners, and because of Gino's work, have determined that they're visionaries when they're really just scatterbrained business owners, and they haven't done the hard work of really sitting down to think about culture intentionally and purposefully, and think about their purpose and laying out the vision as a futurist. you know so I hope that answers the question. I know I meander.
No, that's cool. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I started working with Gino 20 years ago, and I kind of joke, but not joking. I feel like he saved my life in a lot of ways because like a lot of visionaries, I can see an issue or a problem. I created a solution, I sold the solution, and then I got caught in being the one helping to deliver the solution, and I hated it. And I said, you know what? I'm not supposed to be in business. I'm just, I'm not sure what I am. And so he helped me to realize there's a place for me as a visionary with some process and structure and creating a great team and having a partner in an integrator. And we grew significantly, not only in revenue, but in profit, but mainly in me being in the space that I love and I'm great at. I call that my great gift. And I started to learn what that is. And my team helped to keep me in my great gift. Now, it's an interesting balance between, yes, as we hit the ceiling of complexity as a business or as an individual, how do we break through that? A lot of it is around structure and process. And yet, if we have too much structure and process, what does Jack Nicholson say? All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy, or something like that. And so that's what a lot of us visionaries go, I don't want to do this. And so even the rally cry of Viva La Visionary, it's okay, we need the magic and the creativity as visionaries and the structure and the process and the people. And so that's that balance that I'm still learning and whatnot. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. So what's one thing that you could share? What's one experience share that as a visionary, I learned this or I implemented that really made a difference? So what would be an experience share to say, as a visionary, here's what helped me? I mean, you mentioned EOS.
You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
My experience share is that I really didn't feel like I fit anywhere in my whole life until I joined the Visionary Forum. And you standing up there using words and phrases like Viva La Visionary. And I'm like, oh, like here's someone that actually celebrates me. And I was even saying this to someone recently. I said, it's really refreshing to be able to do what I want in my life and make money at it and see other people grow and find meaning in their lives because of my unique talent, and add to that Bob has given me permission, because since I was in kindergarten and the reverberations run deep, I can remember people basically telling me to sit still and be quiet and not be so dreamy.
Right.
Like, so this fucking world, excuse me.
We visionaries can drop the F-bomb, yes.
Yeah, this world, like maybe there's 3 or 4 or 5% are like us, maybe less. And the world is designed to put us in a box because it's annoying to them. And so what is my one takeaway is getting permission. And if you feel like you can't get that permission, then join a tribe where everybody grants you that permission and understands that this is a positive, because a lot of us have been told it's a negative. Like, right. I all the time, my family, even during Thanksgiving, they cannot stand me.
Right.
I mean, they love me, but they can't stand me for too long. So right. Yeah.
That brings up a couple things for me. I did a talk at the US conference years ago, and it was for people that work with visionaries. And it's you work for a visionary, sorry to hear that. And it's harnessing the power and the energy of the visionary. And again, I was being vulnerable and open, but here's how we tick. And I agree. It's like, oh, there goes Bob again. And oh, he can't follow up on this. And we're the butt of a lot of people's jokes. And I'm not playing the victim here, but like you said, and even per my book, we talk about the chatter coming at us as individuals and as visionaries, and the chatter in here. And as Dr. Doug Brackman talks about in Driven, that us drivens, and I think he says it's 6 to 8% of us are driven, where we're passionately going after things and have addictive personalities, and we have a different gene, but it's also imposter syndrome. And when I first started working with Dr. Doug, I'm like, well, no, that's not my issue. And as we talked more and more, I'm like, oh, I'm still trying to prove that either I fit in or I don't fit in, but to be happy with who I am. And so again, to be around other visionaries, and that's where we say visionaries unleashing visionaries. It's like, oh, I get you. And it's, when you have an idea or dream, it's like, tell me more and how can I help? And obviously, if we run wild without some structure and process, that can be dangerous as well. So I appreciate what you're saying. And then a lot of times, we talk about letting go of the vine, which Gino taught me years ago, and that's letting go of our control and gripping onto things and trusting our people and our process. And there has to be a time and a place that we do that. But I've realized, especially for us visionaries, it's almost therapy that we have to go through and to let go of those habits and to realize and live life beyond the vine. And so not to be, known as, and my worth is to be the driven person and always having to be the hero and whatnot, and just be, you know what, I'm just gonna be the visionary. And as you said, be part of the culture and share the passion and inspire. So that's awesome. So I appreciate all
I
that.
want to mention something though about that letting go of the vine,
Yeah.
because I really got tripped up on that part of the book, which is very small part of his book. And what I found was that I and a lot of others involved and in my circle missed, like, there's one sentence after he talks about letting go of the vine, and we all missed it. And it leads you to believe that you have to let go of the vine, like, right away.
Right.
And
Right.
what it says, and I'd have to get the book, but it basically says, but not until you're sure that other people have it.
Right. Right.
And I think a lot of people overlook that. And I went through a lot of pain because I was like, all right, I'm going to let go of the vine. I let go of the vine. Other people didn't have the vine.
Right. Right.
And then you end up in a world of hurt.
Right. Yeah. So I appreciate that. So yeah, you don't want to let go of it too soon, but also you don't want to let go and not be a part of the company. And again, that's where it's the and. So it's process and structure and creativity and magic and connection and community. And so that's where it's that balance of the and. So, and again, a lot of times it's like, some of us visionaries get pushed aside to say it's all process and you're dreaming too much. And to me, it's like, if I don't dream and connect and create, I go crazy. And so, and yet if I don't have some structure and process, I'll spend all our money.
So here's a bridge that I
Yeah.
created because of my failure when I let go of the vine too early, and then I had to kind of grab it back, and now I'm
Right.
slowly letting it out again. But what I learned, and I created an acronym for this because we all need acronyms in order to remember anything. And then you sprinkle in a little bit of New Jersey, which is where I grew up. So let's add that all together, because like I grew up in the same town as Gary Vaynerchuk. And if anyone knows him, maybe that's why I cursed. It's in the word. But so the acronym is CRAP. And I say, you got to give, before you let go of the vine, you got to give your people a lot of crap. So CRAP stands for C, clarity about what are they supposed to do,
Right.
right? And why, and R is resources. Don't under-resource people. Tell them to go do something, and then they can't do it, whether it's training, whether it's computers, no matter what it is. Give them the resources. And 3A is the accountability. Make sure they know where they're supposed to get to, and
Right.
keep up on them about it. Like, don't just forget about it. And then finally, P is patience. People need time. And often all of this, the clarity needs to be repeated. The resources need to be updated. The accountability measures need to be rethunk. Sometimes they're not the right accountabilities. And then go through that patience, and you got to work it, and then you can let go of the vine. So I'm going
Right.
to
I
put
love
that little chapter into Gino's book in a leaflet, like you get at the
it.
airport from
Right.
yeah.
Right. Awesome. Cool. I love it. So, what is an issue or an opportunity that you're facing right now that you're working on and solving? So, what's happening in Greg's world right now that is the next learning opportunity? Could be an issue you're solving, an opportunity that you're going for.
Yeah, well, the biggest one is with regard to the fundraising report card app that I built 8 years ago with a mission to help nonprofits of all sizes because my core flagship app is mostly for larger organizations. So I thought, well, what can I do that's philanthropic? How can I help all organizations? And I created this fundraising report card app. And it's good. However, after 8 years, and I kind of forgot about it for most of the time, people using it, it broke because technology breaks. It's a machine and things change and it needs to interact with other technologies. So it's been breaking, and I had to rebuild it. And I decided to rebuild it much better and with some AI features and such. So we're going to maintain the free side of it, but we're also going to make a paid version that has a lot more features and interesting benchmarks so that organizations can compare themselves to organizations that are very similar and maybe in the same kind of geography or same size or same mission. And the more nonprofits that put their anonymous data into the app, the more capability we'll have for providing the sector with comparative benchmark metrics for performance.
Right.
So that's what I'm working on, and I'm going to integrate it with our flagship product so our current customers can monitor, because with our flagship product, we offer a 10-to-1 return on investment guarantees. And we need an easier way to prove that to our customers. Nobody offers a guarantee in fundraising, but we do. So, and 10-to-1 tends to be pretty high because cost of fundraising is usually quite high.
Right.
Sometimes it's even just 1-to-1 if you're doing junk mail.
Right.
Yeah, so that's my big thing. And yeah, the more people that put their data in, the better the benchmarks will be.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, good luck with that. So, when I ask people like in my talks and in workshops and whatnot, how would you describe a visionary? And often the word that comes up is scattered. And so, again, that's my book. But it's what do you do? Because what I find the key thing for me and for other visionaries is to slow down and to listen to what's going on in here and what's going on in here, and just again, things kind of come to me download. What do you do to unscatter the chatter and to slow down and to kind of tap in as opposed to doing and more being? Do you have any tricks that you do or any rituals or disciplines?
Well, there's prayer.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That helps. But also, and you've enveloped yourself or into my pattern, because after prayer, I belong to one of your 331 groups. So then I sit down and I think about the three important things for my life and three important things I need to get done for the day. And then the one, I'm probably butchering your philosophy here, but
So
yeah.
it's if it were up to me, it's the one thing, it's to state something, not, I hope today is great, is, that I'm living a great day. Today is awesome. So it's calling forth that, that miracle as if it's already happened. So it's if it were up to me is the one. So it's three things that matter most, top three impactful action items, and then if it were up to me, and that's how I love starting my day. So yeah, so has that helped you?
Let's say 50-50,
Yeah.
which is great actually, because and the way I say that, because you're talking about scattered, and it's like, okay, so I type in my 331, I'm super focused, I'm dialed in, I know exactly what I'm going to do to have a great day, and then like 2 minutes later I find myself doing 600 other things. And then the next morning when I'm typing in my 331, I look and I'm like, oh man, I didn't actually do what I was supposed to do yesterday.
Right.
But I'm getting better at that. I am getting better at that. And yeah, so it's good to be focused, but I think it's also really I enjoy the flow of sort of butterflying around doing different things.
Right.
So yeah, I've stopped saying should, or I try to stop saying should to myself.
Right.
I think maybe I got that out of your book, but shouldisms suck. And they're your own self-talk. You don't have to agree with them anymore.
Right. No, I love that. And again, I need to be excited and inspired and passion, and then I'm at my best. And so if I have to do something or should do something, or I never do something, I just don't even want to do it. And so again, that's kind of the imposter system syndrome rearing its head. And so it is so funny because my wife will make fun of me, and she doesn't make fun of me, but I feel like other people, it's like, you're so hung up on verbiage. I'm like, yeah, but if I get to do something and it's already happening, I get all excited. But if I have to do it, I don't want to do it. So I think that's the rebel part of the visionary. And so, yeah. And then the thing about the 331 is consider sharing it with your integrator or your assistant. And so, A, they get to hear what's going on in my head and my heart, and B, they can even respond. And I had a great executive assistant a while back, and she's like, "You are so productive. You get so many things done." And then she's like, "Wait a minute. I do most of those things for you." I'm like, "But they're getting done." But when I share them, she would reach out and say, "Did you get these 3 things done?" And I'm like, "Actually, can we jump on a Zoom?" And she would help me get them done. Or I would spend, and this is where another key, rather than rushing into the doing, I'll spend the first few minutes of my day after I do my breathing and my 331, and I find I get excited to knock those 3 things out. And by 8:30, I'm like, I already had a great day. And so the rest is bonus time. And it is with clarity and confidence and excitement that I already knocked out the 3 most important things in my day. And again, going into the important side of the world and elevating my consciousness to this is fun and making a difference, as opposed to I have to go solve this issue. It's
I'll tell you
so
this also is it's really I didn't know this going into it with EOS and with you, but it is a multi-year project.
right,
I brushed that off. I was like, oh bullshit, I'll get this going in a few months. And it takes so much time
right,
to provide that clarity, to understand where the resources need to be, develop your accountabilities with your metrics, and then you have to hit the patients and you need to see what cream, which people in your operation rise to the top, which
right,
ones. And it's also, I've learned, like, you want to hire people, you're always tempted to hire people from the outside, but I found that it's you get the best and the best people if you help your people level up and
right,
give them a path to and encourage them. A lot of them, honestly, that can be great, for whatever reason, don't have a lot of confidence and have been in maybe mid-level positions for a decade or so. And
right,
they need some strokes, they need some coaching and encouragement. They can do it.
right,
And where but you need them, even after the coaching and everything, you need them to finally almost get so ticked off. We had one case where we had 3 sales managers go through our operation in 3 years. Finally, and everybody says never promote your top salesperson. Well, our top salesperson got pissed off. He said, "Oh, come on. I can fucking do this job. I've seen 3 people do it wrong and
right,
in very different ways." He's like, "I know every way not to do it now."
right, right,
And he was pissed. He was like, "Are you going to give me another one?" And I was like, "Unless you step up." And he stepped up. And I'm like, wow, I love that. I love people who's, especially a guy who's been with me for 11 years. And we have a lady who's been with us for 8 years. And these people just were like, they're like, well, damn it, I'm going to do it. And
right.
I think those are the best people to elevate. And you got to look for them, and give them that rope, give them your rope. Yeah.
Yeah, with confidence. Yeah, I think a couple things come to mind. In EOS, we talk a lot about LMA, so lead, manage, and drive accountability. And that visionaries in general, and it's a stereotype, but true a lot of times, is that we're not good at LMA. And I disagree with the M and the A, I agree with, but to lead to me is also to inspire and mentor. And I think that's one of our main things, is to say, and it's not just about coaching visionaries to live the greatest life that they've ever dreamed. But it's us helping our employees to say, you can do this, and to inspire them and motivate them and be the cheerleader. And then again, to have an integrator and whatnot to manage and make sure they're getting their important stuff done. But yeah, a big part of us is to help them to see the vision. It's like, well, where do you want to be in a couple of years? And how can we help you get there? And we hope it's here, but it may not be. But then when we believe in people, it's amazing. And we're very infectious. And I joke, but we are the cause of and solution to all of life's problems as visionaries. But when I slow down and I think about people, I'm like, boy, Greg would be great at this. And to say, so Greg, I see you doing this. What does it look like? Well, I don't know. Well, let's talk. So it's getting people out of that 3D world and the logistics and the process world to slow down and dream a little bit and have a vision for your job, your role, your life. And that's what I love doing, is inspiring people. That it's a lot of people don't even know what vision is or how to achieve it. And a lot of them don't have the courage or confidence to go do it. So like you said, to give them clarity and confidence and inspire them, it's like, wow, maybe I can do this. I mean, with my son, when he
A
was,
little
go ahead.
pro tip on this, in addition, is
The pro
that,
tip.
yeah, pro tip, right? The clarity part, what I found works for me is to sit down with a blank open Google Doc and write what the vision is for a particular department, especially for this leader that you're trying to help elevate. You can't just give them the rope. You have to give them the crap, right? So that means it's your job as a leader and visionary to really clearly identify what the vision for that department is. Now, then you hand it to them to collaborate on it, make sure you have alignment, and let them kind of like let them pee on it, like you're taking a dog, or they're marking their give them some degree of control, but they don't want to invent the whole thing. They need something to start with, and that's what the visionary does. So lay that out in front of them, let them collaborate and massage it and make it their own. And then you got to give them the resources, make sure they know the accountabilities that you developed with them, not hoisted upon them. And they agreed to, because they feel it's fair and achievable, but a stretch. And then give them the patience. Say, okay, I'm here if you need me. Let me know if there's any clarity that I did not provide or that you encounter along your yellow brick road journey,
Right.
flying monkeys or something. But otherwise, it's up to you. And then that's where, and then it's really up to me, but more so the integrator, to maintain the accountabilities and find out, okay, are you encountering roadblocks? Do we need to inject the visionary in here? Or is this something you could just chat GPT or ask somebody else to help you with?
Right. No, I appreciate that. And what you bring up for me is a lot of us visionaries, especially with high quick starts, which Colby, KOLBE.com, which is a great data point for anyone for their cognitive skills. But a lot of us visionaries have high quick start. And to me, what I've experienced is we are good at starting and we're good at finishing. And it's, hey, just start here, rather than it's like, how do I make it perfect? Just start here. And then most of us are not good at the middle. But then it's like, well, okay, I haven't finished. Well, okay, forget about perfect. Let's just get it done. And I love the phrase tennis anyone. So I'm going to hit the ball over, and then you're going to hit it back, and then I'm going to hit it back, and it keeps getting better and improving. So start it and finish it, and then say, how can we improve it? And a lot of people have a hard time with that. And I think us visionaries can be an inspiration to say, what is your vision for this project? What is your vision for this rock or this goal? And start it, and share it, and have the courage, because it's, again, we visionaries in general, a lot of times it's like, well, here it is, and it may not be perfect, but oh, I get it. And then other people can help us to improve on it. So I appreciate that we can help them start it and finish it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I love it. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your friendship. It's been fun being with you and with other visionaries to, when we are at a visionary summit and people literally have almost tears coming down to say, what is happening? And it's like, well, it's called connection. It's called love. It's called community. It's called, sharing. And again, I'm learning a lot from you visionaries, and I know we're learning together. And to me, this is the greatest time ever to be alive. And to helping people to have that vision and what does that look like? And it's not up to us to come up with all the visions. We're here to help other people to inspire the vision in their life. Like with I was going to say earlier, my son as a junior, I'm like, what do you want to do after high school? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, if you did know, what would it look like? Well, I don't know. I want to play D1 baseball and go somewhere warm and fun. Okay, so let's put that out there. And then other opportunities came, and then he really figured out his vision, and sure enough, he went and achieved it. So again, like as you said, I helped to inspire him. It wasn't my vision; it was getting it out of him. So thank you for helping me to crystallize that.
I would say if there's a last comment, since it's clear you're wrapping up and getting rid of me here, is
He figured it out.
yeah, is
Happy hour, Greg.
defining purpose is so rarely done. Most people don't go through a process of thinking about their core values and defining with intentionality what their purpose is. I think it was in Think and Grow Rich that Napoleon Hill wrote something like, "Oh, what a wonderful world it would be if everybody decided on and sought after their individual purpose.
Right.
So fewer people would be depressed and lonely and all because people just never sit down with blank sheet of paper and start writing and letting the divine enter into them and then come into our dimension by writing it onto a sheet of paper. It doesn't help if you just think about it. You
Right.
have to bring it into our reality
Right.
and write it out. And I've been doing that all my life, and it has shielded me from misery to a degree because it's always given me a reason to make progress towards a worthy goal. So
Right.
there's some Earl Nightingale there too, I guess.
Yep. Oh, yeah, every worthy goal written down and shared is bound to happen. I love it. And that's again, a lot of times people are afraid. It's like, well, what if I don't achieve it? Okay, well, we learn. And again, that's another thing for us visionaries is we fall down and we get back up and to not play victim, but to say, all right, what did I learn? How can I celebrate and what can I learn? Because I'm going to get up again and again.
So I have to leave you with one more. I have to leave you with one more tidbit, but it's been
Hey,
scientifically proven that nobody actually enjoys achieving.
right.
Well, I'm being overly, but it's
Yeah.
it's not when you're standing. Sure, there's that fleeting joy when you're standing on that pillar and you get the gold medal, but the anticipation of winning or achieving is much more joyful. I'm Jewish, so I don't know what this is like, but I hear that on like the day before Christmas, people are really excited. It's the anticipation, and then when you open up your presents, it's a little deflating, right? After they're all open up, all you have is a bunch of wrappers. And
Right.
it's like, but no, I have all these toys. But still, why do you feel that way? Because and it's scientifically proven that the anticipation is more enjoyable. So
Right.
go with that. Don't worry about whether you achieve it because that's not the fun part.
Right. All right. Well, then I have one more as well, and we could go on for hours, but we are going to wrap. So I love the term the giving hat. And, so it's like when I wear my giving hat, where I'm going to give you time or give you some ideas or thoughts or give you a connection, I feel so good. And so, again, the giving the gift analogy, I get more joy out of giving it than receiving it. And I think that is so cool. And again, that's what we've learned with visionaries, unleashing visionaries. It's like, wow, Greg connected me with someone and he thought of me to introduce me, or he reached out to say, hey, how you doing? And oh my gosh, to be a part of a community that loves each other and gives to each other, it's just been a wonderful thing. So I'm glad we're a part of the community together, and I appreciate your time and your wisdom. And I will see you soon at Forum and Summit and wherever else we might hang out.
My pleasure.
All right, Greg, have a great day. Peace. Viva La Visionary.
Thank you for tuning in to Viva La Visionary. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found inspiration in our guest stories. If you loved what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and share the podcast with fellow dreamers and doers. Join us next time as we continue to explore the limitless possibilities of visionary thinking. Until then, keep dreaming big and taking action. Your vision matters.